Good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk's MLB update. How's everybody doing today? It's much warmer, much nicer. The sun is higher in the sky, and we're enjoying life as spring gets closer and baseball gets closer. Welcome, everybody, here on the McGrath Podcast Network, NPN. Also, everybody watching today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you might be watching us, wherever you'll watch us later. Again, you see the group scrolling at the bottom of the screen here. John Gonzalez at Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings, at America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball, Flo and Can over at Bottom Line Sports. Let's Talk Sports, where Flo and Can do their podcasting as a rule. Ken Krause over at Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts. Quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland. Pittsburgh focused, national footprint. We've been a guest on the Sports Corner that he does on Tuesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern with Smoking Jim Frazier several times, and we certainly enjoy when we get to spend some time with him. Lots to talk about today. Do we have lots to talk about today? We do. We're growing. It's growing closer, guys. It's February 27th. Spring training games are well underway. Yankees have picked up another right-handed bat. I think a good one. Good move. Max Scherzer going back to Toronto. We'll talk a little bit about the WBC today. I can't read that. Oh, CC Sabathia number 52, going to be retired by the Yankees. Are there too many numbers being retired? We're just a few days removed from the WBC. I believe we get underway on, let me check it out here. I believe we get underway. Okay, had it open. Don't know where it went. On, here we go. I think March 5th we get underway here. How about you give me what I asked for, which was a WBC schedule? Very annoying. There we go. Well, that's too funny. They're playing some. They will be playing some exhibition games, if you will, on Tuesday the 3rd. A bunch of teams are playing Major League, the remainder of Major League squads, anyway, right? And on March 4th, we've still got some exhibition games, and then we have. Classic pool play opens up actually on March 4th, so we'll get some real games on the 4th and the 5th. We got I think it's 5th. Really, we have the official opening day, but I'm looking forward to that. I don't know about you guys. I am. I love the WBC. I love international competitions. You saw what happened in the Olympics. We've seen what's happened in the Four Nations tournament in hockey. We've seen it in the WBC in the past. U.S. a big favorite here, by the way, minus 115. That's about as big a favorite as you get in this type of competition. I think Japan is second at plus 300. This would be going for their second victory. Hello, AC. How are you, my friend? AC's got the Red Sox going all the way this year. You're happy with this postseason for the Red Sox, AC? I know we talked about it a couple times. Again, we'll do our full preview here coming up probably mid-March. I get it. I think the Red Sox did a pretty good job, by the way. I think the Yankees probably did the fourth best job in the East, which is not good. I think all three teams ahead of them, the Orioles, the Rays, and the Red Sox did much better jobs than the Yankees did this year, this postseason, if you will, off season. The Red Sox, I kind of like what they've done. I really like the fact that they brought in, who's this kid they got? Caleb Durbin, who finished third, I think, in the Rookie of the Year voting with the Brewers last year. I think they did a great job with this latest trade. I kind of like what they've done with their starting pitching. Crochet's really good. He showed he can stay healthy. Suarez is a nice addition. Sonny Gray pitches great everywhere, but with the Yankees, so or pitches not great, pitches very good. Bellows, good at the bottom of that rotation. Still worry about the bullpen. I think I said this a couple times. I'm not a Chapman fan. Great year last year. So anyway, I think they've done a good job. Great job with Contreras. If Story stays healthy, some of the kids come through, this could be a really good baseball team. As I said, the Yankees also added Randall Grichuk, who, listen, he's a capable player, a really good against lefties, which the Yankees need help, and it'll allow Dominguez to sit probably. In fact, I don't know what Dominguez's situation is going to be, quite frankly. Right now, it would be Bellinger, Grisham, and Judge. You probably see Grichuk against tough lefties and Bellinger moving to center field. So Dominguez is, kind of, the bloom's a little off the, I can't find Grichuk. I was going to find some numbers on him, but can't pull them up quick enough. The bloom's a bit off the Dominguez rose, if you will, with the Yankees. Some injury issues also to start the season. So there's Scott Kobe. Good to have you with us today, Scott. Again, our best wishes to you and your wife as Scott's wife's going through some medical travails, and our thoughts and prayers are with Scott and his wife. Scott's been through his own issues, as all of our listeners know, as we sent our positive energy and prayers his way in the past. We'll do the same for his wife, and also some others who have family members that are struggling right now. And I won't mention them. Scott, I know, is okay because he's been a loyal follower of this show, and we've talked about his travails in the past, and we send that same energy in his wife's way. But I don't want to bring other people up who maybe won't be comfortable, but we do have a couple other people we want to do the same thing for. Scott says the biggest storyline of the off-spring training so far. I'm not sure. I think ABS is a big story. I think the WBC is a big story. It's not part of spring training necessarily, but I think the WBC is huge. As I said earlier, the U.S. a big favorite. We'll look at some of the rosters here at some point if we have a chance today. I think ABC or the ABS system is probably the biggest story in my mind right now. How some guys are adapting in new places. The Mets. I think the Mets reshuffled lineup with a couple of guys playing out of position in that infield, or new positions in that infield. How the Yankees running it back will actually work out. I think the Red Sox, as we started to talk about here early, Scott, big story. The Dodgers are always going to be a big story. I think Harper and the Phillies a big story with the way Dombrowski talked about Harper in the offseason. So there's a lot of big things going on here. Hello, Donna. Good to have you with us. Donna's looking forward to WBC. We'll get some baseball next week. I think on the 3rd we have some games, actually, if I look at it on TV. Now, Sportsnet. ESPN's got the USA against San Francisco, an exhibition on the 3rd. On the 4th, Major League Baseball Network has got Detroit at the Dominican Republic. Again, I think those games are, that's in San Domingo. San Domingo. And then the real thing gets underway on Thursday the 5th on FS1. It'll be Czechs against Korea. That's Chesney, probably. Who is that? Come on, open up. Not going to do it. And then Australia against... they can't play 2 games, can they? They play 2 games at one day? That's in the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. Keith, Jesus. So they're playing 2 games in that one day. That's interesting. March 6th, there's a huge slate of games. Most of them on SF1 and SF2. Tubi's got a game. Fox has a game that's the U.S. against Brazil. Most of this is being played in the U.S., but Tokyo has some games. San Juan has some games. So this will be fun. Going over to YouTube as we continue to push the YouTube side of things. You see, I love this. Actually, Tony Vitello is a good point. We talked about this a little bit last week with managers and storylines and whatnot. Tony Vitello, I do think he'll be successful. He's got a chance to be successful, right? Circumstances have to work out right, Scott. I like the hire. Major League Baseball doesn't go this route. We've talked about it a lot here. Bobby Winkles in the 70s, 73 or 4, 73 maybe, maybe 74, is the only guy I can think of hired by the A's. Might have managed the Angels as well, but very successful at Arizona State won College World Series there with Reggie Jackson, Sal Bando, and the like. He jumped to the major leagues. He's the only other guy I can think of doing this. I would have loved to have seen Augie Gardito do this. My favorite college baseball coach of all time. But I think Vitello's got I think he's the right age. I think he's got the right approach. Hopefully he's brought in, good people around him. Given himself a strong baseball, a strong bench coach. Let me see if I can find out the coaching staff there for Vitello. The bench coach is Jace Tingler. Solid baseball man there. Hitting coach is Hunter Mentz. The pitching coach is Justin McCage, who I'm not familiar with. We'll see. This is an interesting. Tingler's a former major league manager, a bench coach with the Twins, managed the Padres. McCage formerly with the Brewers organization. Mentz formerly with Toronto. Oscar Bernard came from the previous staff, which I think having a holdover makes some sense. Ron Washington is the infield coach. Great move keeping Ron Washington in the game. He's a lifer. Jesse Chavez will be the bullpen coach. Shane Robinson, the first base coach. Hector Borg, third base coach. Listen, I think there's some good baseball people there, and that's what he needs to surround himself with. This isn't college. He knows that. But every other sport does this. Football, basketball, hockey even. Maybe not quite as much as football and basketball. But they do this all the time. So I like this. I like this move. I like somebody thinking outside the box for a change. I don't care what Joe Madden says. He hasn't paid his dues. What's that mean? Kirk Suzuki hasn't paid his dues either. Well, as far as managing in the minors, Joe Madden thinks you got to kick around for 20 years before you get a job like he did. 30 years. Joe Madden thinks he invented baseball. I don't like Joe Madden. I really don't. Hello, Donna, again. Yeah. Listen, Vitello was very, very successful at the University of Tennessee. Very. And the fact that he doesn't have Major League Baseball experience doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to the Giants, obviously. Now, Kurt Suzuki, different issue. I don't know what Kurt Suzuki's a good baseball man. He's done some coaching. Obviously, he was a very good player for a number of years, both in Japan and here. But he got to badly want a job to take a 1-year deal with a horrible Angel organization. We talked about this last week. The fact that Artie Moreno doesn't even think fans care. He doesn't think it's in their top 5 priorities. Winning. Is there anybody more out of touch than Artie Moreno? Oh my God. So Kurt Suzuki, another big story, I guess, Scott. man, to go in as a lame duck manager your first year, your first job with a horrible baseball team and a horrible organization, probably the worst in baseball. Bad job, man. Yeah, we get that way sometimes, Donna. Anyway, big stories, yeah. The ABS is the big story. Bruce Fromming passed away here. Speaking of umpires, passed away here this past week. 87 years old, I want to say, maybe 89. Long time, 37 years of Major League Baseball umpire. Was behind the plate for 11 no-hitters. Umpired, I think, the third most games in Major League Baseball history. And a well-known name in my baseball lifetime. Early on, obviously, he was one of the bigger names in the umpiring world. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Bruce Fromming and his family and friends. Rest in peace. 87 years old. Yep. Donald likes the ABS. Listen. I'm on record as not wanting more artificial intelligence in sports. The replay has been bastardized, something terrible. I think human error is part of sports, including with the officiating. I'm sorry. I know we want to get the calls right, and if you think otherwise, I know Danny Fuller 100% is on the other side of this argument with me, but when it comes to the ABS, I don't have a leg to stand on anymore because the umpires have done nothing to ensure that their own people will get better and more consistent. You can't be as bad as they were last year, the last couple of years. You can't let some of the guys just run wild with their own strike zones the way they have done. And expect not something to happen. So I don't have an argument against it. Now, we found out in the last couple of weeks some of the little nuances of the rule where they've had to measure every Major League Baseball player, that the strike zone will shrink even more because of the ABS. You only get X amount of challenges and whatnot, so it's not going to slow the game down, which is one of my biggest things. But it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, before it gets bastardized, just like replay has. Replay was not supposed to be used in a lot of the instances that it's used in today. It's just not. It just wasn't. I mean, initially it was for fair foul home runs. That's about it. Now it's become, I'm going to hold my glove on you, and if you take your hand or foot off that bag for a millisecond, we're going to instant replay you and get you out. It's not what that's meant for. That's not the spirit of the rule. But what are you going to do? It is what it is, and look, balls and strikes need to be more consistent. The only thing a lot of them are one-sided, and it's sad. I don't think it's a one-sided thing, Don. I really don't. I mean, the guys who are bad are just bad, inconsistent. I mean, people will see that, right? Especially when it's your team that's getting hosed in your mind. I've never been one to think that umpires, referees in any sports are necessarily one-sided or care. Do I think there's not the isolated instance where subconsciously even somebody might have it in for one team? Yes. But, if players are allowed to make mistakes, why aren't officials? Again, my argument's always been, and Jack brought it up this morning on the weekend playbook. He brought up Don Denkinger in 1985, misses a call at first base. We don't even know who Don Denkinger, or have any conversations about Don Denkinger today in 2026 or the 1985 World Series if it wasn't for Don Denkinger missing a call. We wouldn't talk about Armando Galarraga and Jim Joyce if it wasn't for him missing a call on the last out of a potential perfect game. Even if Galarraga got the perfect game, we would not talk about it the way we still do because of the blown call. And I get it. The idea is to get the calls right. It's fine. JB, how are you? Check out JB's stuff on the Back It Up Binge podcast. Some great interviews. Which hope Rick isn't here and he'll be pushing me to do more. I've kicked it around. We may do some more. JB, human error is not part of the sports. Yeah, actually it is. It's part of sports in general, yes. You can't argue that fact with me. You can argue with me if you want that it shouldn't be part of officiating, but it is. But you can't say the first part of this, human error should not be part of sports. Human error will always be part of the sporting event itself. Human beings play sports. Human beings make mistakes. They make mental errors. They make physical errors. They drop fly balls. They boot ground balls. They walk hitters they should have struck out. Anyway, to finish this. So again, the first comment, you might want to amend that human error for officials shouldn't be part of sports, and I'll give you the argument. If you're going to tell me you're going to eliminate human error in all of sports, I'm not sure how you're going to do that until robots are playing the game, and then I won't watch. Anyway, not in the age of technology. Would not be happy if a call was wrong with human error and that cost my Orioles with offensive title. I wouldn't be happy either. I'm saying, oh, it's okay. It's human error. I don't like the technology. I'm not an AI guy in any shape or form when it comes to life. Well, I use it because I have to survive. But again, I don't think you can argue with me, JB, that we would not talk about Don Denkinger, the 85 World Series, Jim Joyce, or Armando Galarraga at all, if it wasn't for the fact that there were missed calls in those situations. I'll stand by that comment forever. Shooting bad calling. I've watched Philly games where the umps were calling it all balls for the Phils, and they were calling bad calls for the other. It's pretty much what I just said, Donna. You know, again, you're no different than me or JB or anybody else. You're going to see things from with tunnel vision when it comes to your team. You always are. And I'm not saying there aren't days that somebody doesn't like the Phils, might be behind the plate. I don't think that's the problem, though. The problem is just inconsistency and poor training. Again, I'm not arguing against ABS anymore. I told you, I'm done with it because the umpires have made it impossible for me to argue for them. When you suck as badly as they suck, and it's not about them hating one team or the other, it's about the fact that they just stink at their job, especially when it comes to balls and strikes. And again, when it comes to the overall technology, you can't tell me that it hasn't been bastardized in football and in baseball. It's not used correctly. We don't use it for things. If we're going to have it, we don't use it for things that we should. And then for things that we shouldn't use it for, like, you know, you came off the bag for a millisecond. That's not what it's for. It's to overturn egregious calls. Egregious. Like Don Denkinger and Jim Joyce, if you want to make that argument. But again, those things I just mentioned would have disappeared and never be talked about again. The 85 World Series would have been won by the St. Louis Cardinals, and we would never have talked about it again. For the most part. Not never, but you know what I mean. Armando Galarraga's perfect game. Do we talk about what other perfect games do we talk about unless they're for our team or Don Larson in the World Series? We talk about that game and that play forever. Part of the game. It's part of the lore. Again, and we would never watch the game. We would not have watched that. That's it. It's excellent. It's a great point, JB. Thanks for making my point for me about the fact that that play would not have gone down in history the way that it has. Gone. And it's fine if that's what you want. And these great moments in baseball are not relived and relived and relived and relived. I think that's important. I don't think you can just say I don't like it. I don't want, again, I don't necessarily say I don't want the calls to get right. Never said that. I care if it happens to my team. You mentioned if it happened to your team. I'd hate it. I've seen it happen to my teams. I've seen it happen. I saw replay not help the Orioles against the Yankees in 1996. You know, I don't know if they use replay. Actually, did they use replay in that game? I know I don't have to explain to you the game I'm talking about, JB. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of machines and AI. Sorry, Internal Affairs is after me right now. AI determining the outcome of games. Oh, you're saying the other team was getting bad calls. My bad. You know, I don't know, Donna. Just not a fan. Again, I don't have an argument. I'm not gonna put up a big stink. I'm not sure what you're asking me. Why would you want to discuss an error? What's that mean? An error in the call? We talk about Don Denkinger in the 1980s, at least I do, and people I'm around. Not every day. But at least once a year it comes up in conversation. It would never come up unless that whole 85 World Series would never come up. But we discuss it because, Jesus, Don Denkinger blew the call. The Cardinals could have won the World Series. It turned the whole thing around. We don't have that conversation if it's reversed. We don't ever talk about the 85 World Series. We wouldn't talk about Andres Galarraga's perfect game. When was the last time you talked about a perfect game that anybody pitched? As rare as they are, but we talk about Andres Galarraga and Jim Joyce all the time. And Andres Galarraga, I keep saying Armando Galarraga. And Armando Galarraga, by the way, is one of the classiest individuals in sports I've ever seen in my life. Let me just put that out there as well, because the way he handled it, we also got to see something, an act of humanity that we would never have seen, by the way. And again, I know I get it. We would never have got to see who Andres, I don't know why I want to call him Andres, Armando Galarraga really is as a human being, and one of the great human touches, human moments in sports, when he went out and brought the because Jim Joyce, I believe, was umpiring behind the plate the next day. He brought out the lineup card. He hugged him. Jim Joyce is crying at home plate. The world we live in today, those little acts of humanity, that's what sports is about. Not freaking instant replay, so nothing ever is done wrong. That's just me. We can agree to disagree. Rick Hardick, how are you, my friend? I hope you're feeling well. Or getting better anyway. I know you're going through some struggles. We talked about some other things. Rick, you're in our thoughts a lot when we hope you're doing well. You got to get into baseball now after March Madness, I know. Well, March Madness is upon us. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday, obviously, on the college sports huddle. But it's good to have you with us today, Rick, and we hope you're doing well. I'm not sure the context, but I'll laugh with you, Donna. You bring up errors to justify not having replay. Get the call right. That's fine. I mean, again, we can agree to disagree. Again, my point is those moments would have been lost to history. We'd never talk about it. Human error allowed for something to be talked about for decades later. the 1985 World Series. Again, my argument doesn't have to be yours. You don't have to agree with it, JB. That's why, that's why if we did, it'd be boring as hell around here. No need to discuss something that was wrong. Okay, that's fine. I agree with you. I discuss it because it's part of history. History that would have been different with replay, which you prefer because then the Cardinals would be a boring 1985 World Series winner, and Armando Galarraga would have his perfect game that we would never talk about, and we never would have seen what a wonderful human being that he is, by the way. I'm just saying there are reasons not to want it. I'm not saying it's the ultimate argument about why not to have it. The ultimate argument is it gets bastardized all the time. If you don't think instant replay in all sports has been bastardized beyond freaking belief, it's crazy. That's not my main argument. I'm making a point. I'm not making an argument against instant replay because I want to talk about an error. Great moments would have been missed. It's fine. It's all good. It's been a while since I've even seen anyone talk about a perfect game. Hello. we don't. We talk about that one because it should have been a perfect game and wasn't. That's my point. So, again, I'm not. Believe me, if everybody was on the same wavelength of me, in my own mind, the world would be better off. But my wife often points out it would be a freaking scary place as well. So, it's true. The active community, that could be make or break for a young player. Listen, nobody's ever Armando Galarraga handled that with a grace that you very rarely see in the world of sports or the world in general. But listen, I'm not telling you. Excuse me for the cough. I try to cough away from the microphone. I need something other than my coffee. JB's got a perfect, and Donna, anybody who's for instant replay, fine. I don't say, I don't like it. That's it. Not a big deal. You have an argument. You have to have an argument for something, the reasons you don't like it. I just gave you mine. What do you got here, Rick? I agree. I don't want it. MLB slows down the game, changes flow to game 100%. 100%. If you've had a way to do it and we had a real challenge system like you have other places, maybe I'd be okay. The ABS at least has some limits. You can only challenge twice a game, and it takes about 10 seconds. So I'm not going to complain about the timing with ABS. And again, the umpires are so bad that they brought this on themselves. So. There's Isaiah. How are you, my friend? Good to have you with us. Good to have you too, JB. Don't get upset because I'm raised my voice with you. This is just, I'm passionate as you are. Most of my viewers, and JB being one of them, has seen, multiple sides of my personality. Quirky is the way I like to describe Keith. I'd agree the ABS needs to work, not opposed to it a bit, but it's a bit awkward for now. Again, I am opposed to it, but I don't have an argument to keep it out. Balls and strikes have gotten so freaking bad, it's ridiculous. But so anyway, JB, you're your arguments are perfectly legitimate. I'm not saying they're not. I'm telling you my argument is for me. I don't try to convince other people. I don't, but you're not going to convince me the way that I feel about it is wrong or inaccurate, because it's not. And if I ever change my mind, I'll tell you, JB convinced me. We would be in trouble. That would mean there would be no one to argue with. Everyone needs their own opinion. Agreed. Geez, for a minute there, Don, I thought you were really like ripping me to shreds here. No, it would be scary. A world of me's wouldn't be good for anybody, man. Anybody. No, what I usually say, Isaiah, is I respect everybody's opinion, and you have every right to be wrong if you don't agree with me. Where'd JB go? I know JB doesn't always stay the whole hour, so hopefully I didn't piss him off too much. Very few people do I worry about pissing off. I'm now worried about pissing JB off. I know he's strong. You're an oil fan, man. You got to be strong. I know that. Got a legitimate argument. We talked about a little bit, too. I did want to jump into the WBC. CC Sabathia will get his number retired this year, the number 52. The Yankees have really – Jack and I talked about it this morning. We had a few disagreements, but in general, we think the Yankees have gone way too far as retiring numbers. Who else is out here? Isaiah, EC, I saw earlier. John Gonzalez, how are you, buddy? For the Sports Authorities, aforementioned Sports Authorities. Best site out there. Yankees have gone really way too far retiring numbers of guys who have played in more recent years. Jack and I agreed that as much as we love Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, Posada, they don't need to have their numbers retired. Great players, very good players on a great team. But we're retiring too many guys. Yeah, there's not as many as you think. And we went through the list today, and really, it's not agreed. Even O'Neill, Posada is probably the most egregious one in my mind. A fine ball player. But I don't think Jorge ever made it to the level of Bernie Williams and Paul O'Neill even. And they didn't reach the level of Derek Jeter. Reggie spent 5 years in pinstripes. No. Why didn't retire Catfish's number? There's our good friend from north of the border. Our good friends in Canada, at least mine. Chris F. Grave up in the North Country. Kelly Gruber turned 64. Man, Kelly Gruber is 64. That means I've got to be almost 66. How can that be possible? Not right. I'll take your word for it. Almost 5 years before he got drafted, he was a football player, knew nothing about baseball. His college draft position was blocked by superior players. A coach asked him, ever played baseball? What position do you play in football? Where do you go play football? Kelly Gruber, very good third baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now I want to know where he went to school. Kelly Gruber. How about it won't tell me about his football career? How about that? Well, somebody's got to add something to his Wikipedia page. Chris, I nominate you. Anyway, let me look at the WBC for a little bit. Donna's into it. Keith's into it. Who else is into it? The U.S. a minus 115 favorite, by the way. Toronto did re-sign Max Scherzer. I said the Tigers should. They brought Verlander back. Wouldn't it be cool to see Verlander and Scherzer in the same rotation? Scherzer's not nearly the pitcher that he was. He had a couple of good postseason moments. He didn't have a great regular season last year or the last several years, quite frankly. Age and injury has caught up with him. Same as it had with Verlander. They have their moments, but, I don't know how much he's going to help that team overall. But let's just see. Where's he going to sit in that depth chart with the Blue Jays? Dylan Cease, Gausman, Shane Bieber. Listen, Shane Bieber is one of the best acquisitions at the deadline as anybody. We know Savage is going to be part of that bullpen. Barrios. So you got Ponce, Barrios, excuse me, and Lauer, and now Scherzer fighting it out for that fifth spot. Look, with the guys they have, Gausman's 34 years old, 35 years old. They're all 30 plus, all these starters, except for Yasevich. Yasevich is only 22, 23. But all these other guys, man, they're in their 30s or more, and they're going to need 6 or 7 starters there for sure. WBC, let's bring it. Next week, we got exhibition games on the 3rd and the 4th, and then real games starting on the 5th. You want to see Sir Didi and mid-40s Alex Ramirez out there. Is Didi playing somewhere for the I'm just going to look for the rosters here. Bear with me, see if I can. Let's look at some of these teams real quick. Let's look at Canada. Major League players of name on these teams real quick. We'll go through. James Paxton is on there. Cal Quantrill. Michael Soraka. James Talion in that rotation. Bo Naylor, one of the catchers. Josh Naylor at first base. Pretty good team. The Canadians aren't bad. Outfielders, not Tyler O'Neill. And then their manager's Ernie Witt. Good job. Justin Monroe is the hitting coach there. Russell Martin's on that staff. That's pretty cool. All right, what's next? Next, Colombia. Looking real quick at some names. You can throw any out you want. Well, I don't recognize. Julio Terrian on the staff. Jose Quintana. I'm looking quickly. If I miss a name, forgive me. Carlos Martinez behind the plate. Ariel, infielders. Looks like maybe his brother Michael is one of the players as well. Solano. Gio Urshela is one of the infielders. Harold Ramirez in the outfield. Interesting. Cuba. Frankie Alvarez. We know we're going to get some good players here, don't we? Cruz. I'm looking at the pitching staff. We'll look at the U.S. last. I'm trying to go through these quickly. I'll get through this division. I'll go, Alexi Ramirez. We think we'd see more Cuban names that I'd be familiar with. Not quite so much. Panama, where I was just in Panama here a couple of weeks ago. Logan Allen. You get some interesting guys playing for some interesting countries. By the way, Guerrera. Catchers. Bethencourt, infielders, Caballero for the Yankees is playing in their infield. Ruben Tejada, Luis Castillo in the outfield. What else? Puerto Rico, let's look at, and I'll take a couple of comments. Fernando Cruz, Jose De Leon, Edwin Diaz, Jose Espada, Seth Lugo, Maldonado, one of the catchers. Vasquez, one of the catchers. Nolan Arenado, Arroyo. Outfielders Willie Castro, Lugo, MJ Melendez. Nice players. Yader Molina, by the way, is the coach there. John Birdie's a free agent, stole 44 bases a year ago. He doesn't play the new stolen base game. The man can flat out run. Well, the new stolen base game has got to help him a little bit. Clayton Kershaw for the U.S. That's a big story too. Yes, I don't expect him to pitch a lot, but we'll see him. That's not I'm not sure which one that one is. Let's look at the Miami pool next. Let's get the Dominican Republic. We got Alcantara pitching for them, Bello pitching for them, Camilo Duval, Estevez, Peralta, Severino, pretty good pitching staff. Gregory Soto, Austin Wells playing for the Dominican. Interesting. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Manny Machado, Ketel Marte, Rosario, Santana, O'Neill Cruz in the outfield, J-Rod. That's a pretty good staff, man. Juan Soto. Got to watch the Dominicans. They look really, really good. Who's managing that team? Albert Pujols will be the manager of that team. Interesting. The Israelis, and I always get interested in some of these teams from Europe and the Mideast who have gotten better. Anybody of note on the pitching staff? Tommy Canley, right here from Shaker High School in Colony. Dean Creamer, Major League pitcher. I'm sure there's some others I may not be picking up the names really quick. Garrett Stubbs is the catcher. CJ Stubbs is the other catcher. Infielders, nobody of note there. I got to move it, though. Going too slow. May not be able to do all these. Brad Asmus will be the manager for the Israelis. The Netherlands, I know Bert Blyleven is the pitching coach there. Actually, this year, he's not. He has been in the past. He is not this year. Andrew Jones is the manager for the Netherlands. That's interesting. Not seeing a lot of names there. Albies is an infielder. Bogarts is one of the infielders. Didi, there's Didi. He's playing for the Netherlands. Jeremy Profar. Shoop. Jerkson Profar must be Jeremy's brother. Jeremy. All playing for the Netherlands. Pretty cool stuff there. Let's look at Venezuela. I want to get to the U.S. The U.S. has got a really good staff. Before I run out of time, I want to make sure we get to the U.S. Because I want to review this roster one more time. We've done it a couple of times. This is the best U.S. team, I think, in a while. They won one a few WBCs ago. They're the big favorite again, minus 115. The Japanese are plus 300. That's a pretty good gap right there, by the way. The staff is really, really good in my mind. Isaiah mentioned Clayton Kershaw has made the team, having retired. But you've got guys like Skubal. You've got Paul Skeens, who expects to pitch 2 games. You've got Joe Ryan. You've got Waka. You've got Logan Webb. You've got Garrett Whitlock. You've got in the bullpen Bednar, Mason Miller. You've got Noel McLean, Clay Holmes, Matthew Boyd, Brad Keller, Griffin Jacks. Who did I leave off? Gabe Spire. That's a pretty good staff right there. The catchers, Cal Raleigh and Will Smith. Infielders, Bregman, Clement, Goldschmidt. Harper, Henderson, Turang, Witt. The outfield, Roman Anthony, Buxton, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Aaron Judge. Designated hitter Kyle Schwarber and Mark DeRosa and his staff. He's got a really good staff here, too. This team's loaded. This is the best team I remember being in WBC for the U.S. Now, the Dominicans we just read are also loaded, and Japan's going to be loaded. So it's going to be very interesting. I got to believe – did I leave this up? I got to believe that did I leave up the odds here somewhere? Yeah, maybe I didn't. I had it up before. I got to believe that the Dominican is the third choice, by the way. So anyway, we got a few minutes left here. Name to watch, Alan Rodin. He's built like Mike Trout. Hope he stays healthier than Mike Trout. He's off to the races in spring training. If his MLB career goes splat, he has a degree in as an astrophysician. What's that mean? An astrophysicist or a physician? Could be the language barrier here. Your boy Stubbs on the Israel team. Are they brothers, by the way, the two catchers? Do you know, Donna? Both catchers for the Israelis are named Stubbs. Oh, you're missing the best one. You're missing the two best Jewish players that I know. Well, Ian Kinsler was really good. Sean Green was really good. Jamie Moyer is really good. Sandy Koufax, probably the best Jewish player in the history of baseball. Hank Greenberg, probably second best. Underrated injuries cut his career short. Ron Blomberg, first designated hitter in history. In fact, they called him the designated Hebrew. I think that was the name of his book as well, Designated Hebrew. Great player. You have a great weekend too, Donna. Stop in Sunday if you're free. If not, we'll see you Monday morning. Just a matter of how serious Team USA. I think they're taking it, man. Here's the thing. I think the U.S. winning the Olympic gold is going to put more pressure on these guys to play well. How about that take? Japan is always ready and want to win. I agree. As long as and Dominicans, don't count them out, man. Those Latin American countries are really good. Venezuela is going to be good. I haven't looked at the Puerto Rican squad. Let's look at Venezuela real quick. We looked at Puerto Rico. Did I not look at Venezuela? Did they not get in because of, maybe they didn't get in because of all the travel issues. They may not have gotten in. Cuba's also got 8 guys that are not getting visas. So I don't know how that affects some of the names that we looked at here. Let me just take a look at that real quick, actually. The U.S. denied 8 visas for Cuban players. Did they list the players? They did not. Yeah, there's not much written up about this, but so we'll see. And because of the travel restrictions on Cuba, that's one of the reasons some of these got denied. And I thought Valenzuela, but a Venezuelan team is not in because they couldn't get visas to the U.S. I thought they had gotten in and they'd worked that out, but they do not, that I see, have an entry here unless I'm missing it. I am not. Czechia, by the way, is it not the Czechs are playing? So interesting. Oh, there's Valenzuela. I'm sorry. They're staring me right in the face, Valenzuela. Who's on Valenzuela's roster? Budo, De Jesus, looking at some of the pitchers. Carlos Guzman. Ranger Suarez. Catchers look good. Salvador Perez and Contreras, who can play elsewhere as well. Luis Arias, Contreras, Wilson Contreras. Garcia from the Royals, really good. Jimenez from the Indians, I believe. Eugenie Suarez, Gleyber Torres, Weiler Abreu, KAC's favorite outfielder, Acuna, Churio. That's a pretty good roster as well, by the way, managed by Omar Lopez. Yeah, Valenzuela is in the tournament, by the way. Cuba is the one team with having trouble with visas. So I don't know how I missed that, but they're in any event. Where'd JB go? Hope he didn't go away mad, man. I have this reaction anytime I disagree with somebody. So I got to put the teams in this order. Favorites, right? Let me just see if I can get this, Isaiah. We'll go back to the betting odds. FanDuel. Are we ready? FanDuel's got something totally different going on here. Oh, that's the pool winners. Sorry. I want to win the tournament. Minus 105 right now is FanDuel. The Dominican at plus 380 is second. I don't like this. Oh, I'm sorry. This is wrong. USA 105, Japan plus 380, Dominican plus 460, Venezuela plus 850, Puerto Rico plus 1900, Mexico plus 1900. So there's your favorites for this tournament. You missed Drew being at the end of the bar. We'll call him up. I don't know where he is. Send him a message. We got Drew's pick, so for the preseason, we'll certainly review. But this is going to be exciting couple of weeks. Whether you guys are into it as myself and Donna, I don't know. But we'll see how that goes. They got a bracket challenge, too. I should have put one up. We will start a bracket challenge for the NCAA tournament, by the way, just on another note for basketball. So this tournament will go through March, I believe, around March 20th. Here we go, finals. March 17th are the finals. It'll be a lot of fun once we get out of bracket play here. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are excited. We're going to sign off, though, and finish it up. Another great hour of baseball. We talked a lot more about instant replay than I expected to, but it's always a heated thing because where I stand, I know is not where most people stand, and that's okay. I stand alone more often than that. You guys have a great weekend. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talk MLB Update. We'll see you later. Check out these shows that you can watch on the McGrath Podcast Network. Bye-bye.